I'll call the April 26, 2022 meeting of the Christiansburg Town Council to order. And as we always do, we pause for a moment of reflection. Ms. Hicks, I want to welcome you back. You had a rough couple of weeks, family illness, but glad you're back.
Thank you, sir.
Set her into a moment of reflection, please. Thank you. If you don't join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm going to ask Councilman Henry Showalter to recommend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. I don't believe we have any public hearings scheduled for tonight. We'll move into the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of the April 12th and April 20th meetings, the monthly bill list, a resolution recognizing May 1 through May 7 is National Travel and Tourism Week, resolution recognizing May 6th through the 12th, National Nurses Week, resolution recognizing May 15th through the 21st is Public Works Week, resolution recognizing May 15th through the 21st is National Police Week, resolution recognizing May 15th through the 21st is Emergency Medical Services Week, resolution recognizing May 16th through the 20th United for Infrastructure Week, resolution recognizing May 2022 as National Water Safety Month, and resolution recognizing May 2022 as Building Safety Month. To award a contract to EC Pace Company in the amount of $2,393,000 for construction of the Roanoke Street Waterline Replacement Project. Contract with A. Morton Thomas and Associates Incorporated, DBA AMT for construction, engineering, and inspection services on the Roanoke Street Waterline Replacement Project. Total amount $149,994. And an approval of a bargain sale of town-owned lot at the intersection of West Street Northeast and Johnson Street Northeast, tax parcel 497-12, section 3-16A, parcel number ID. Parcel ID is 070451, and this was voted on by council several meetings ago.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
Any motion and a second? Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Showalter.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 5-0 and is traveling this week. Under introductions and presentations, Montgomery Floyd Regional Library Director Karim Khan to present on library programs and operations. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm honored to be here tonight to speak on behalf of Montgomery Floyd Regional Library and the Christiansburg Library. Library branches reopened to the public on April 8, 2021, following the second COVID-19 related closure. And we've been bringing back services, partnerships, and programming as public health conditions permit. I am very happy to report that as of March 14, 2022, we have resumed in-person preschool story times after 2 years. And here at Christiansburg Library, the Music on the Lawn series, for the first time in 2 years, will kick off for this year on Saturday, May 21st. We'll be having a full slate of our indoor and outdoor activities for children's and teen summer reading this year. Through March of this fiscal year, our performance indicators are up over the previous year, which admittedly the previous year was heavily impacted by COVID because we were closed for 8 months during that fiscal year. But checkouts so far this year at Christiansburg are at 99,949, visits at 58,608. Our wireless sessions are at 7,997, and use of library computers at 5,830. Christiansburg Library currently has 11,766 cardholders, and we've added almost 5,000 new items to Christiansburg's collection this year. Some of our biggest increases in use and in availability have been in downloadable resources. With our consortium partners in the Library of Virginia, we added the Magazines by Libby collection, which brings each new issue of over 3,000 magazine titles to patrons' devices. It allows us to expand not just which magazines we have, but the type of magazines we have, the languages available, the levels available. It's a very, very good resource that the State Library has assisted us in bringing to you. We've also made available over 10,000 new ebook and e-audio titles through Libby and through Hoopla. And we were very happy to introduce Help Now, which is a live web-based homework help product that's available through the website 7 days a week in the afternoons and the evenings. And it's good for school age up to college age. Perhaps the most exciting addition to our library system is the new mobile library. The mobile library was purchased with Federal CARES Act funding through Montgomery County and provides services in the community in 5 targeted areas: economically at-risk communities, geographically remote communities, senior communities, congregate settings for young people, and community events. The schedule runs for the mobile library serve 15 to 20 locations on a 3-week rotation. Within the town, we have scheduled stops. Within the town, we have scheduled stops at Christiansburg Bluff Apartments, Linden Green Apartments, and at Uptown Christiansburg. Linden Green and Christiansburg Bluff are among the busiest stops that we go anywhere in the 2-county area. This year, we were very excited to bring back many of our partners and our participation in community festivals. The mobile library attended the Touch a Truck Festival, Montgomery Museum's Heritage Day, and the Kiwanis Wilderness Trails Festival. And you could also see it at Getting Scary on the Huckleberry. And it was a regular feature once a month, I think, at Christiansburg Farmers Market at the Rec Center. It's also went to the Christiansburg Fall Festival, where we spoke with over 1,500 people in one day. We are excited to have in-person programming back, widely available for all ages again, including our story times, our art club for homeschoolers, and our 3 book clubs. In the next year, we plan to continue to grow to meet our mission to inform, inspire, and empower and connect the people we serve. We appreciate the support of the community and the town of Christiansburg. Thank you very much for your support, and please do not hesitate to let me or Selena Sullivan's team at Christiansburg Library know if we can provide any assistance or further information or answer any questions.
Any questions?
I think that you guys have done so good during the pandemic. You tried to figure out ways on how to reach out to people, and I applaud you for all the efforts that Montgomery County Regional libraries have done for our communities. It's really nice to see the mobile library, and it just always brings a smile to me because it's just nice to see it down the street. So it's kind of like the ice cream shop.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you very much again. Thanks for the invite.
Next, we have YMCA Virginia Tech Executive Director Ryan Norton to present on YMCA at Virginia Tech programs and operations.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to come talk to you. I really appreciate it. My apologies for the casual dress. I spent most of the afternoon running around the tech campus in the rain outside looking for the slots for our YTOS activities. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a few moments. I am here to talk to you a little bit more about the Ymca Virginia Tech, the programs and activities that we're doing, and then also focus a little bit more on the food insecurity activities that we've been really tackling in the past 3, 4, 5 years. So a little bit of history. We are 149 years old. We were founded in 1873, right after Virginia Tech was founded. We are one of the oldest organizations in the region. You can see kind of comparison from the other groups that we are associated with very closely. And we are one of only 8 collegiate YMCAs in the United States. So we don't have fitness facilities, we don't have swimming pools, we don't have gymnasiums. We really do more with social outreach and program development and engagement in the community, and then getting Virginia Tech students, Radford students, and other college-age students off campus into the community doing these outreach programs. We were the first originator of Hoagie Stone on campus as the architectural signature. We did build this building, which is now where the College of Arts and Liberal Arts and Human Services is located. We did all the fundraising for it ourselves, constructed it ourselves, and used it as the very first student center on campus. We do have lots of ongoing programs right now. The thrift shop is one of our very well-known ones. It's a combination of community resource and also sustainability and recycling. We take in tons of goods and items from the community that, instead of going into the waste stream, come to us, and then we sell it to the community at very low prices for those individuals that have a need for those things at really low prices, and use all that fund from it to really move our programs forward and finance the activities. Some of our other activities, Newcomer Activities. So we do projects and programs for internationals in the region. We did start an international women's group in the late or early 1980s. And unfortunately, that group started because one of the trailing spouses of a Virginia Tech professor committed suicide because she did not feel connected to the community, and she unfortunately took her child with her. So we really want to stand up against that and make sure that all these internationals that are coming to visit us and or immigrate to our area have a sense of community and connectivity and can really build off of that and have a support system. We also have a pottery studio. There are 8 different potter's wheels in there so that people can do thrown clay, potter's wheel, and rolling clay. I am not very good at pottery. I get very stressed out about trying to make my pot look exactly right, but there are some great potters in there that do some amazing things. And as I mentioned before, we are a student organization. We really do focus on student leadership development. So we have students that lead all these programs. They are program leaders. They come up with the budgets, the plan of action, the recruiting mechanisms, the training for the different volunteers involved with it, everything from A to Z involving those different activities that they're doing. 2 of those students do sit on our board of directors alongside the other community members who help to lead the organization. So tackling food insecurity, we've really ramped up our efforts since COVID started. You can see a little bit about the need for Montgomery County. Unfortunately, we can't get as granular as the different towns in the area, but we do know from the census status from the county's perspective that there is 11.6% of the population who is food insecure. And you can see that $3.39 is the average cost per meal for the basic nutrition requirements that are recommended for substantiating life. So that requires an additional $6.5 million of funds coming into all of our budget for the region in order for those 11.76% of the population to have the money to afford the food at just the 3.39 cent average cost. You can see that there's a lot of need out there, and we're trying to find a way to really affect change there. We do have areas of food deserts in the region, which means that there is no fresh produce, no fresh proteins available within a 10-mile driving radius. So really there's a lot that you don't see when you look around the town and the community. This is just a larger explanation of the need for the entire NRV region. You can see that this is really something that is not just situated in one area. It's really systemic throughout our community. So our current iteration of Meals on Main program, we are doing food distribution at 5 different sites in the community and then 2 sites at school, after-school programs. You can see that we have 50 kids at Oak Forest, 30 at Hollins Estates, 50 at Adams Mark, 50 at Linden Green, and 80 that come to the Y Center for food pickup. Everything right now is being offered as a grab and go, so the students can come to us or the parents can come to us. They don't have to get out of the car. We'll go out to the car and give them their meal, and then they drive away. We are providing this to them so that each time they pick up the food, they're getting 5 days worth of food, and that happens 52 weeks a year. So we're giving them food, making sure that we give the food to the youth that need it throughout the entire year. 305 kids are our weekly average at all of those different locations. And since January of 21, so last year, we served 76,000 plus meals, 76,000 plus snacks. I want to make sure that those are 2 distinctly different things to show the amount of food that we're providing. And then we also have about 385 kids unduplicated that have come to us at some point in time during the past year. We do rely very heavily on volunteers, so this is a mixture of community volunteerism and student volunteerism from Virginia Tech and Radford University. You can see a little bit about what the different areas of need are represented in the food distribution that we're doing. Blacksburg obviously is the largest one, followed by town of Christiansburg. And this is all from self-report of the individuals who are picking up from us as we're having conversations with them. We're not asking them for any hard, fast data about it, but we are trying to get a sense of where we're serving them from. Some of our short-term goals, so we have purchased a food truck with grant money that we've received over the past 2 years. I'm getting ready to go pick it up in the next few months. It has been completed. And so we're going to use that as a mobile kitchen to go out into these communities and provide food to them on site so that they don't necessarily have to rely on transportation to get to us. We know that transportation is an issue for these individuals. The truck is going to allow us to transition to fresh meals so that we're giving away hot meals instead of the shelf-stable meals that we're delegated to right now. That'll also be a lot more nutritious and more palatable for the participants. So we expect that of these communities that we're already giving the food out to, there's a lot more need that isn't being represented yet. We expect them to start coming out as we get to these fresh meals. Community Housing Partners has partnered with us. We are doing at several of their sites. Linden Green and Linden Grove are 2 of those sites in the Christiansburg area. And CHP has asked us to add 2 more sites, if we can, to our rotation of food distribution. So that is an extra 170 kids that we're looking at trying to find resources and provide food to. And we're very connected to a couple of different food systems that are happening throughout the region so that we can really come together as a group and as all, I don't know the saying, so all boats rise as tides come in, or whatever that saying is. So some of our needs, we are, as a USDA sponsor for the region, we are able to provide resources and food to youth in the area up to age 18. But after that, we're not able to provide any resources to adults. So we are looking at finding ways to expand that access. We did ask the town of Christiansburg for $10,000 this year to help feed the adults in the area, so mostly the caregivers of the kids that are participating with us right now. It's pretty obvious that if the kids have a need for food, the adults and the caregivers probably have that same need too. So we want to extend that resource to them. We really appreciate you considering that opportunity for us. And it will allow us to provide 2,500 meals to adults throughout the next year. We are transitioning to fresh meals, as I mentioned, and we do want to begin to increase our sites. So again, as a USDA sponsor, it doesn't have to necessarily be a YMCA site that we're supporting. We can offer this resource to other organizations in the area that are doing food access as well. Some of our aspirations, so I mentioned that we're trying to work with several networks in the community to really tackle this as a group and not be individual silos. So we wanted to create a food distribution hub for the region. It'll be a much larger version of what we're doing right now. It'll have a large, substantial commercial kitchen, providing hundreds, if not thousands, of meals per day. And really getting that out there not only to ourselves and our own programs, but to our partners, so that we can really start to get that 11.7% down and give them access to the food that they need and let them think about other things that are important in life, not just basic necessities like food. We really appreciate all the support and effort that you all have put into this, and really appreciate the funds that you're putting towards this also. I'd love to answer any questions about our food program or the other YMCA programs that we might be working on too.
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
How does a family sign up for the children to get the food?
There's no need to sign up. They just need to come to one of our sites. They're all open sites, and so they can just pick up a meal, and we ask no questions, and they drive off.
Thank you.
How is the information provided as far as like public outreach? Is it through Facebook, through?
We do a lot with social media. So we advertise through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the different kind of social medias that are out there. We also ask that a lot of our partners share it and submit it to their participants as well. We have an email list of about 5,000 or so email addresses that we reach out to as well. We don't have as many opens on that as I would like, but at least we're getting it out there into their inbox. And so it really is coming together to some of the different community, like the network meetings that we're talking about. That kind of consists of, I don't know, maybe a dozen, 20 organizations that are working on food insecurity activities and starting to collaborate among them about getting the message out, but also sharing resources and trying to help each other out too.
Ryan, how do you guys define food insecure? What are the metrics that defines to arrive at 11.6?
Sure. Let me get back to that slide. So you can see that 130% of the poverty rate is one of those metrics. And then also, I don't have it on this slide, but being eligible for free or reduced meals through the school system, being on any kind of WIC or SNAP program, those kind of benefits. So it really is based on the poverty rate and seeing what the levels of income are for the family. Now I have to say, getting back to these numbers, these are all from 2019. It's pre-pandemic numbers, so we know that COVID really exacerbated all of this, and so these numbers are completely underrepresented from what their actual need is. But then the other problem is also there are a lot of individuals who are too proud to go out and let people know that they have the need. So that's another factor that we are struggling with, because when we do go back to having to collect information about participants and finding out what their capabilities for income might be, we think that we're going to lose some participants from that. And we just don't have the people coming out because they don't want people to know about it. So I'd love ideas on how we can tackle that. I'd love to find ideas on how we can, we try to be really discreet in all the food distributions that we do. We make sure that it's not right in front of everybody and give people the dignity that they would like. But if you all have ideas on how we can help to reach that audience and to really get more out there, I'd love to hear it.
I heard that same issue at the agency on aging as well. For a lot of the older population, they're having a hard time because they were the greater generation and they feel like, you know, somebody else may need the help, so they will struggle just to give somebody else the food or whatever,
right,
even though the funds are there to support those programs right now.
Right.
Let me ask you something as far as like the CARES Act and you said that the food program is literally, you're getting a lot of help from the USDA, is that correct?
Right.
And now the CARES Act and American Rescue Plan, I'm sure you guys got some money from that too as well, right?
We have received money from the CARES Act. It wasn't allocated just for food distribution. It was really more about keeping our staff employed so they can go out and do the work and get the volunteers engaged in doing the work. We have been seeking ARPA funding. We have not heard anything from any locale about that necessarily. Frankly, the only group I know that has made the opportunity available to the community is the town of Blacksburg. I haven't heard about other community opportunities, but if you know about some of those, I'd love to hear about it, because we really would love to try to bring to bear the resources from the ARPA funds to really make a difference and impact here.
Absolutely. I know the agency on aging today, it was a big meeting about all this and everything, and I know that we're talking about how the funds are there right now because American Rescue Plan gave really good money for the agency.
Right.
But then they are talking about, you know, how they prepare for the future, because right now they're able to provide all the services, but later on there may be a chance that those funds may not be there. So. Right.
Well, and one thing I will point out, all of the steps that we're trying to take, we're trying to be responsible and make sure that they're sustainable and that we're not setting up a system where we're receiving lots of money, maybe from ARPA, without a plan of how we're going to continue that in the future. The worst thing we can do is provide the resource to the families, have them start relying on us, which they should do, and then all of a sudden we pull the rug out from them. So we're really trying to find ways that we can make sure that everything we do is going to be continuing and to be an ongoing support system for them.
Absolutely.
Well, thank
Very
you.
presentation.
Any other comments or questions? Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you all very much.
Next on the agenda, we have citizens' comments. If you would like to make comments to council, if you come to the microphone, your name and address, and your comments are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone here who would like to address council? God, that might be a first. Oh, I'm sorry.
I try to let other people speak for myself. Hello, I'm Dustin Robbins. I live at 1720 Old Farm Village Road here in town. So love the presentation for the food insecurities especially. I can attest to that. Being myself, I have no food right now. I won't be able to eat until Thursday. That is a very difficult thing for many of the people I live around, so it's nice to see people actually trying to help in that manner. Granted, Linden Grove, where I live, doesn't get any help at all. CHP pushes most of the people that try to help out, which is frustrating. It's also why I tried to start earlier this year the community garden. It was my understanding and hope that when I came here the first time, that I was going to be allowed to use that lot that was officially approved on Roanoke Street to just give that food away. I was going to grow it all myself, use as much as the lot that was legally possible, which I think is like an acre of the 2.5 that was available, and then just give it away. That's all I was going to do. But, I mean, I had that 100% paid for. Town really didn't have to do anything but help me tear the ground up so that I could properly till it. I don't have the equipment to actually tear it up. I just have the equipment to till it. I even had the stuff to test it. This town didn't really have to spend a single penny on that lot. Instead, town took that whole project away from me. Was already spending money doing whatever it is they're doing over there. And then I was later told that not only is what you're doing not supposed to be public yet, but I'm never allowed to plan events. This is, the Parks and Rec told me directly that I was not allowed to ever plan an event in this town, ever, for any reason, without their specific permission. I was told I was impersonating a town employee when going out telling people about a community garden that I was trying to start. And in that case, I should be arrested, like right now, if that's what this council thinks. I mean, we have Chief Sisson here. He's more than welcome to arrest me. I'm not against that. If you guys think that I am trying to be one of you or one of your hired employees, please do, because you should. It was incredibly frustrating for your events planner to accuse me of being an employee here, or attempting to be an employee, going out and completely misconstruing the project I was doing, and then just taking it away from me completely. I don't really think this town should fund a community garden. I think the town should have let me do, or someone else like myself, do it, share it with the community, let them section out plots with me if they wanted to, and, you know, just be thankful it's there. Instead, the exact opposite of what I just described happened, and it's incredibly frustrating. And this is not the first time this past month that town employees have done similar things. I've talked to other heads of departments about this already, so that's the biggest one that hasn't been brought up yet. That phone call, which lasted 20 to 30 minutes of being accused of so many things, and then having it stripped from me, ended up putting me in the hospital. It put me in such a panic or stress. I don't know what kind of attack I had, but it felt like a heart attack. I had every symptom of a heart attack. I have hospital bills to prove it. It's annoying because it's expensive every time this happens. I'm a diabetic. I am very prone to these kind of things. It kind of felt like 4 years of trying to get a community garden started was pulled away from me in 20 minutes. Completely. I do not like taxpayer wasted money, which is what I was trying to avoid. I was trying to use this as a basis to start a nonprofit to go further into helping people in situations like myself who cannot feed themselves, who cannot clothe themselves to be more presentable in place, can't even afford proper furniture for themselves. It was my intention to start a full nonprofit after this year, but I can't even do that anymore. The town doesn't seem to want this kind of help for their people. 70%, like they said, is not the poverty rate here. It is much, much higher. COVID exasperated that amount by tenfold at least. No one where I live is eating. I am being asked for food all the time, which my resources have completely run out, which is why I am now food insecure. I can't help them anymore, and the town stopped my last option of being able to give them fresh foods. And that's just a massive frustration to me. I don't really know how to reconcile this. I just wanted to bring it to yours and the public's attention as a whole instead of meeting with you individually. So I do thank you for your time. It took a little longer than I probably should have, but I thank you.
Thank you, Dustin. Anyone else? Hearing
Yes.
no.
Can I say something? Yes.
Go ahead.
Dustin, thank you for coming out here today. Can I ask you a question? I know that you have been trying to work on this project for a little while. I know that you have mentioned that some of the items were provided to help you with this, with the program that you're trying to create. Can I just say that the Power Zone donated the tiller? Will that be okay, or and there were other resources that you're trying to get in the community to help you with this, or will you be willing to share that information?
Most of the donations I got ended up getting returned. I'm still keeping the tiller for now. I'm giving myself until the end of May before I return it, because I am hoping that one of the two churches I've contacted will continue to consider me using part of their land. It hasn't been decided yet, because it has to go through their process. If not, then I will fully return it, because I haven't touched it or opened it. It's in a box.
So I'm kind of, I guess, confused as far as how can we make it better, and how can we help you as a town to make this community garden?
I don't think it can. The one usable lot the town owns is being used for their own uses. It's going to be developed in 2 years for something completely different anyway. I don't see any really way to reconcile this so late in the year already. The growing season is about to start. Most things that you grow here locally take about 3 months minimum. The 168-day growing season, that's very difficult.
Okay, thank you.
Randy, where are we with that lot?
Basically, I think the lot is pretty much ready to go as far as use. We're going to have the application available very soon, and we'll have it available. We did do soil test on the lot. We do plan on tilling spaces and assigning basically individual spaces to people. I don't think it was really ever the intent for it just to kind of be open for necessarily one person. We were going to assign spaces. And that's what we're trying to do.
That's a definition of a community garden. It's available to all the citizens within.
So when?
I can give you an update. So basically, we had to go through a process. We went and got the soil samples done. That went to Virginia Tech. We received those soil samples back. At that point, we went to the site multiple times, laid out plots for the gardens, 20 by 20 spaces, which is a rather good sized space for a garden, in a community garden space. We laid those out. We met with Public Works as well as our staff. We have since tilled 6 spaces. There are other places that could be available to be able to be tilled, but we wanted to wait to see what the need of the garden was, because every plot that you till, if it's not used and planted with an item, environmentally, we have to put mulched leaves and those types of things in there. There's a lot of process that it has to go through in order to be able to do it correctly. So right now we have 6 spots that are available. We have the application that has been updated as well as the guidelines of the garden. We hope that we will have that out by the 1st of May. And in the meantime, our public works staff is working to be able to get irrigation and frost-free spigots to the garden plot so that we can be able to have water there for the garden.
Okay.
And do you have a date that you may have those available?
Well, May 1st will be the application. And theoretically, in this area here, except for cold weather plants, most garden plants, you wait until after the frost date, which is typically May the 15th in our area.
And it's already tilled or hasn't been?
It has been tilled, and we will go back one more time and till it again to ensure that it's good and loose and those types of things. But we have to really let it dry out a little bit, and then we'll go back to do it again.
Brad, besides Dustin, is there anybody else in the community pushing for this community garden right now?
I haven't heard of anyone pushing for it, but it's also not been really advertised as a community garden. So I think that's the important thing. I think there's guidelines you have to put in place. I think there's rules and policies that you have to follow. And once you get those things in place, then you send it out to the public. And there could be many people out there, just like Mr. Robbins, that wants to grow a garden and those types of things. And, you know, as I mentioned, we have 6 plots that are tilled now. If there are needs for additional ones, then we have some more room to put some other plots there.
What is the processing time once you get the application? And what are the real requirements for it?
Basically, it's first come, first serve on the application, and each person can have one plot, 20 by 20. If for some reason there are additional plots that are available after May the 15th, then we would allow somebody to get an additional plot. Generally speaking, you know, it's a little bit, this process started a little bit late for us, but generally speaking, what our goal is that we would start the application process in February and have that out there and have everything lined up at that point to where if people wanted to, we would till sometime in March, weather permitting, and then that way if we had folks that wanted to do cold weather plants such as cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, those types of things, they could go ahead and plant those items at that point, and then later on be able to plant the other plants such as tomatoes, watermelons, and such.
Awesome. Will this qualify for the volunteer day for the employees as well? If they wanted to go and plant?
It would.
You will? Okay. Thank you.
All right, so you'll be in touch with Mr. Robbins of any unused plots, assuming he's going to apply for one.
Mr. Robbins can apply just like everyone else,
Okay.
and we'll have it out on social media as well as on our website.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So is this lot not gonna be used for the EMS then, or are you guys gonna just dedicate it for future community gardens?
It will not be dedicated for a future community garden. We will probably use that in the future for an EMS building.
So why invest so much money in a lot
Dustin?
that, I know, I'm just asking because it seems like a waste for investing so much money into town property and then having to reinvest and lose that money or move the community garden if it's so
That's
popular.
fine. You wanted this thing, and we did it the way we had to do as a town. So,
You guys
if we
told
spent
me
the
that
money
that was
on
a
it-
pot, that land could be used by literally anybody. I came here just asking publicly
what's
for your
private property?
permission.
It's owned by us.
No,
Move on. Anyone else to address council? Thank you. Any committee reports of any meetings over the last few weeks? Okay. We'll move on to discussion and action by mayor and council. Conditional use permit requested by Jacqueline Marshall, owner, and Sean Ymca, close enough? Thank you. Lease to allow contractors' equipment storage yard in the general business district B3 on property located at 301 Depot Street Northwest, tax parcel 526-23-BK1-12. Parcel ID is 007535. Property is designated as business commercial. Future land use map, 2013 comprehensive plan. Public hearing was held on March 22nd, 2020.
I make a motion to approve the request for a storage building at that location on Depot Street.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussions? Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Showalter,
Aye.
Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
That's 5-0. Thank you very much. A rezoning request for John D. and Arnetta V. Elmore, owners and Garland Hopkins, third contract purchaser from Agriculture District A to General Business B3 for the portion of property located at 710 Peppers Ferry Road, tax parcel 435-A-23. Parcel ID is 021274. Property is designated as residential on the future land use map of the 2013 Christopher Comprehensive Plan. Public hearing was held on March 22nd, 2022.
I make a motion that we approve the rezoning request as read.
I'll second.
Good motion and second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Showalter.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
It's 5-0. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, good luck with your projects. Increased day pass fee for Aquatic Center. Mr. Bishop, is that yours?
It will be, hours.
Hours.
Hours, yeah. During April the 6th advisory board meeting, they discussed the possibility of increasing the day pass fee from $5 to $6. And if this is approved, this will be the second increase of fee adjustment since the Aquatic Center opened in 2010. All the advisory board members agreed to request this fee increase. So based on that, I'll make a request to approve their request for the daily pass increase. There we go.
And that's $6. That's across the board. It's not.
Well,
I
that's
think it doesn't.
2 years.
Well, 200, but I mean, it's not a designation of this for residents and this for
No,
because I think
they tried that and it didn't work.
it didn't work. So we have a motion.
I second.
Got a motion and a second to increase the day pass fee for the Aquatic Center. Motion and a second. Any discussions?
I agree with increasing the fee, but I also do think that we should make it higher than the town residents. I don't think it's fair for the town residents to be paying the same amount when we are taxpayers in the town of Christiansburg for this facility. Not to mention the fact that, you know, one of the comments I was looking at the thing in there, it said that it was gonna be hard to ask people for the ID and it will make the lines longer and things like that. I kind of think that, you know, if you make it like at least $1 more, you're showing to the town residents that you really cared about them and that there is a little bit of a difference between being a town resident and a non-resident. Give them a reason to come and live in the town of Christiansburg. Give them a reason to come and swim in the town of Christiansburg for a cheaper rate. My thing will be like, if you could do like at least $1 difference, so it wouldn't be like, maybe you'll make the county a $7 fee and the town $6. So at least if you don't have your ID with you, it doesn't feel like so painful, but it will also feel like you have a coupon coming in the door. And it will give you a reason to bring your ID with you. And if you don't have your ID, it's not such a big deal. I mean, we don't allow people from the county to use our facilities at the rec center without having to pay. And so, and they have to show an ID, correct, Brad?
So they basically, town residents sign up for a membership to the recreation center. They're presented, there's a couple forms of identification that they have to provide. We check to see that, and then at that point they're issued, we don't look necessarily at their physical driver's license and stuff. They're issued a membership card, and that's how they scan into the recreation center. If they do not have a membership card and they do not have items basically saying that they do live in the town of Christiansburg, then they have to pay a day pass of, I think it's $5 is what ours is.
Okay. I think, and Terry's here, I believe that that same ID they use at the rec center, it can also well be used at the aquatic center, correct? Right. Okay. So.
Do we have a county membership? I mean, if somebody doesn't live in the town can join a rec center for X $100 a year.
Yeah, so like for the recreation center, we have different rates. We have out of town rates, family, single. We also have senior rates. for out of town as well. So,
Sam, you should.
And I think that we probably, with the Aquatic Center, we have such a small membership fee, a monthly membership fee now, don't we, Terry?
The residents are $10 for unlimited visits each month.
So it's a family of 5, it's $50 instead of coming
And they can
every
come
day and paying,
30
so
days
it's a
free.
pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah,
comments?
just one. Sam, you said this was only the second increase that the center's had. Is that right?
Yes, since it's been open.
Okay.
I got just a question. Since, I mean, Terry in the past and Brad, the reason why we kept the fees even across the board is because you can be a county resident, but your address still show Christiansburg, and it would make it almost, I mean, it would be difficult to show unless there was some sort of roster delivered from the town, probably Val's office, to the Aquatic Center on a weekly basis almost.
It works out pretty good. Our system, our ActiveNet system is pretty spot on for all of the residents in the town.
that's the reason we do the membership, is because we have a boundary, and if there's new roads that are included within the town, then our engineer and GIS department will notify us of those new roads so that we can be added. But for the most part, when we get those addresses, we can GIS them and make sure they're there. If for some reason they don't come up on the GIS, then that's when we would call Ms. Tweedy's office, and they would go back and look at tax documents and those
So
things.
you would actually do that for somebody signing up for a membership?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
because what you have is you have Christiansburg addresses that are way online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
so
what
yeah,
I'm saying.
It'll
It's
pop
hard
up on
to,
our- it'll
it's a
pop
lot of
up.
work and effort to put into somebody who says they're an in-town resident when in fact they're not. Because a lot of people who live in the county think and have a Christiansburg address tend to think they are in Christiansburg. And I know they do because they call, why haven't you plowed my street? But just to, and I understand what Joanne's saying. I appreciate what the board did looking into this, Sam. But I'm not going to approve any rate increase at this time, just due to what's going on out there in the States with the inflation.
Will you be willing to do a $6 rate increase for county residents and leave it the way it is
I
for
think
town
we have a
residents,
motion on the
$5?
floor of $6 across the board, and we have a second.
We're having a discussion right now.
I'm
Just
calling
to
for
put
the
it
vote.
out there, it's something that the board would need to weigh in on, and they have in the past, saying they wanted to keep it even across the board. So it's something I didn't agree with in the past, and Terry has been privy to those discussions, but that's what the board and that's what previous council members agreed to. So right now, we're talking about a $1 increase across the board, so I'm not going to approve that,
Okay.
just based on what's going
Thank you.
on outside in our economy.
Madam Clerk?
Sir, is anybody else going to say anything?
Do what? Let me run the meeting. I've asked for comments, and I got all the comments, so I'll take it from here. That's my job.
Councilman Bishop, Councilwoman Hicks,
Pass by her. She's not gonna
I
You're
am
voting.
thinking, I am not voting right now, you know?
vote. Okay.
I just,
It's a simple yes or no.
It's a tough decision.
Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Showalter,
Nay.
Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
I think that's probably 3 or 4 to 1. Whatever that, very good. Thank you. Discussion of potential names, signature park names. We held this over from the last meeting. Brad, is this kind of your thing?
It is his thing.
It's kind of, in a nice way.
Okay, so
Thank you, Brad, for coming.
absolutely. So I don't really have a presentation, but in your packet, you were able to see what the public vote was in regards to the park's name. And just to give you a little bit of a history, we started out with basically anyone in the public, staff members, and those types of things giving us names. We had to have a starting point somewhere. And we provided those names, and we presented that to our Parks and Recreation Commission, Advisory Commission, and gave them also the opportunity for any other names that they would want to be considered. At that point, we had the Recreation Commission do a vote on the top 8 names that they felt would follow suit with our new park. Once those 8 names were put into place, then we did a public vote, and we put items at the Recreation Center, we put items at the Aquatic Center, and we put items here at Town Hall. We were able to receive 70 votes of town residents, and in that town residents, Huckleberry Park was the top name, top getter. Second on the list was Truman Wilson Park, and third on the list was Christiansburg Signature Park. There was much discussion from the commission because it wasn't. This was something to help name the park, and then at that point, then the Rec Commission would come back with some recommendations to Town Council. The Recreation Commission talked about Huckleberry Park, since it was the top vote getter of the public, to have that as a recommendation. The second one was, there was discussion on Truman Wilson Park, and in most cases, when a park is named after someone, generally there's financial ties to that. There hasn't been financial ties necessarily with Truman Wilson, so there was concerns on the table in regards to that. The next thing that was talked about was Huckleberry Park sounds great, but we think that it needs some identification. It needs some clarity so that people know that it's Christiansburg, because Huckleberry goes from Blacksburg all the way to Christiansburg and through Montgomery County. So then the recommendation came from actually one of our student representatives to basically the Huckleberry Park at 114. So that was the second recommendation. And then the third recommendation was the third vote recipient getter from the public, and that was Christiansburg Signature Park. So the 3 recommendations that the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission has provided to Town Council is Huckleberry Park at 114, and Christiansburg Signature Park.
Do you think about Huckleberry Signature Park?
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you all for sure. I think the one thing that there were a couple on the Parks and Recreation Commission that was fine with just Huckleberry, but there was more that were a bit concerned that was just too broad. So to having some specific items to it, that's why the Huckleberry Park at 114 came about. And I think you can look at some different types of marketing items when you see that 114, Huckleberry at 114. There might be some opportunities for some additional marketing and those types of things, but those were the 3 items that they came about.
Confusion, people coming from out of town looking for it right off the exit 114 on I-81, which could cause some confusion at first.
Well, I personally think the park should have the Christiansburg name on it somewhere. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and I think that was another reason why the third one was listed there, Christiansburg Signature Park. And, I think there's, obviously of the 70 votes from in-town residents that we got, there was some interest there in Christiansburg Signature Park. Not quite as much as Huckleberry Park or Truman Wilson Park, but, there was some items there.
So the Huckleberry Christiansburg Park is really nice and all. I know that I think was it you or somebody else that was talking about trying to be able to see if we could get some more huckleberry bushes to be planted around the huckleberry trails and things like that. And maybe, I'm just seeing, I know that we have it in our signs and things like that, but when you look around town, there is no huckleberry bushes that you can see anywhere.
Right.
It's maybe that's a way to really, really try to connect the other parks with this one too, and maybe we'll be able to plant huckleberry bushes all to the other parks to connect them to this main park.
I think it would be really neat to be able to have huckleberry bushes throughout some areas of the park. We did attempt to do some huckleberry bushes along the trail itself, but the bushes weren't overly mature and they just didn't make it basically. But I think that, you know, we worked with a volunteer group with that. But I think that, you know, if we move forward with something along those lines, you know, as you mentioned, it is in the wayfinding signage and those types of things with the huckleberry. It is along the railroad track, so basically the thought process of the huckleberry rail. I think that if we could find mature plants, we have a great horticulturalist here within the town. You know, we would probably need some assistance in the taking care of those types of items, just the knowledge and such. But I definitely think that that's something worthwhile to look into.
So,
The Huckleberry Christiansburg Park sounds really good.
Christiansburg Huckleberry. Yeah, I like Christiansburg in front of it.
on anything?
That work for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I think the commission did their job, they put it out there, they gave us a recommendation. Huckleberry Park got the top one. I do like the idea of keeping Christiansburg in there, because it is our park. And it's not going to stifle if Corellian wants to sponsor it, right? Corellian,
No.
Christiansburg, Huckleberry Park.
They want to build an athletic field, we can name the field out there.
Right.
They want to build the field.
I think
we can do
the
it.
key is we need to name it so we can move on.
Yep.
I agree.
So I make a motion, we name it the Christiansburg Huckleberry Park.
So,
Got a motion and a second. Comments? Mr. Jenkins?
I don't have much of a, I like that. I have no problem with that.
Ms. Hicks?
I just have one question about the signs. So obviously we have gone through like Signature Park, Truman Wilson Park and things like that. As far as the signage and things like that, is that something that how long is it gonna take before those signs go up? Because I really, really want to give opportunities for sponsorships before that. So hopefully we do have like Corellian supporting us with $2 million. So who is to say Montgomery County wants to come in and help us with $3 million or $5 million? I mean, they're building those two parks. The one in Showsville that cost them like $3 million. The one in Reiner that's over $9 million right now. And I mean, we're right here in the county. So I mean, getting them to sponsor some of this park will not hurt us.
We're discussing naming the park right now.
I'm sorry.
We've got other things going with it, and there's some fundraising going on, that will be going on. And you know, can't put the signs out till we know what the name is, and that's what we'll decide, and see how long it takes.
so it's on the table, and one of our next discussions is what are we going to talk to the board of supervisors about? So that could be a good one.
So, you have a comment?
None.
Mr. Bishop?
So I'm ready to vote.
Mr. Wilson?
Do it.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Showalter.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That's 5-0, I do believe. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Christiansburg Huckleberry
Thank you.
Park. And relay our compliments to the Rec Commission for the job well done, would you please?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Discussion of a potential meeting with Montgomery County Board of Supervisors and potential topics. Is this something that we want to do?
Yes.
Something you want to do?
Yeah, I think we need to talk to them.
Okay.
I would like to.
I can go either way. Yes.
Okay.
You need a
Show
vote.
off.
Yes, I think it was somewhat effective. How many years ago did we do it?
Pre-pandemic. 4
4 or 5 years
Mr.
ago.
Jenkins, you heard?
I don't think it can hurt.
Okay. Very good.
Do you want us to email you
Yes, I
discussion
would.
points?
I would, very much so.
We can really start coming out with a few things. I mean, personally, for me, it will be the park. second
Yeah,
item
let's
will
not
be.
tip our hands before we set up the meeting, because they watch our meetings also. If we're gonna know what we're gonna ask them, then they're gonna have every defense in the world for it.
Well, they also have to agree to it.
Yeah, I'm sure. They have to agree to the meeting also, which they weren't real interested in it the last time we approached them. Is that correct?
They said they'd be willing to meet sometime after May 1st, and we'd have to provide agenda items.
Yeah, I would really appreciate if you would email those to me. I don't copy the other council members, but or to Randy, just so we have, we're sure we have everything vetted and our I don't want to say we want to make sure we have our ducks in a row when we go out there.
If you could just maybe send it to me, and you could just find a copy of the group. I'll just try to assemble everything and maybe group like things together.
All right, that sounds good to me. Thank you. Staff reports?
Just mentioned that mentioned possibility of park tours. Do you have availability tomorrow and Thursday? Tomorrow you'd be going with Brad Epperly if you wanted to go, or you could go with me on Thursday, or next week I'm planning to try to make other appointments with Councilman Wilson. So if you're interested, just let me know.
Okay.
Do you have any time set aside for
They said they're pretty open. I think Brad could do it early in the morning. He's got a 10 o'clock, so sometime before that, I guess 8 or 8:30 would probably work. I could do it Thursday, really any time in the morning.
So we'd like to group try to get two of the council members together.
It would be nice, but
essence of time. Okay, thank you.
And I'll just bring up the budget. If anybody has any budget questions, any items for budget discussion.
Thank you. Anything else? Oh, well, they'll email you the questions and valid questions and comments.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Braun, you got anything else, Randy?
That's
I'll
it.
let you cut him off. Huh?
No, that's it.
Mr. Braun, thank you. Any other staff comment? Council reports. Mr. Showalter.
No.
Mr. Bishop.
Nothing.
Ms. Hicks.
Yes. So tomorrow we have central business meeting, 1 o'clock here in Town Hall.
12 o'clock, right?
12 o'clock, I'm sorry, 12 to 1, there you go. Town Hall, thank you. And then another thing I wanted to mention, Agency on Aging is having an event on May 26th, 2022, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. You can go online and register to go to this event. There is a cost of $50. This is obviously they are trying to get money and support from the community instead of coming, and asking us for a whole bunch of more money. All the services that they provide for the town of Christiansburg residents and all the food insecurities right now that they are also providing for the people of age is really, really fantastic. I was there at their meeting today, and the statistics and the numbers that they were given today were numbers that we were giving today as well, but even more scary because they were pre-pandemic, and right now they are seeing a huge need in the community as far as food goes and everything else. I do know that they are providing over 4,524 meals were provided to the town of Christiansburg residents within the last 6 months. Over 61 participants in one of the groups that they are doing for delivery meals. And then there is all kinds of different things that they are doing within the organization to help the people that are older than 60 years old and older. One of the things that they are asking is for people that if you know someone needs help and is older, they may qualify for this. You never know, and so they are really asking for people to come out and reach out to the community and tell them, hey, these agencies are out there to help. And there is a lot of, they keep everything very private and information won't be given out. So yeah, if you know of someone that needs help, please reach out.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Wastewater Committee, will you schedule us a meeting?
Yes.
Other than that, no.
Okay. Mr. Jenkins?
Nothing to report.
I'd like to just take a minute to thank the Recreation Department who partnered with the Kiwanis Club for the fabulous Easter egg hunt down at Kiwanis Park on the 16th. It wasn't it? 14,000 eggs, and they lasted about 6 minutes. It was unbelievable. They had 5 or 6 different groups, and it's like watching locusts just come through and wipe out a field of everything. But it was a great event. It's a great with Kiwanis and the police and all the town staff that was involved. Thank you for a job well done.
Thank you.
Anything else to come before council?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Public Works for doing such a fantastic job during the spring cleanup. The streets and everything looks so nice. I left before they were, there was everything out there on the street, couches, beds, everything, and now it's like coming back home and it's like, oh wow,
I had a couple of Public Works workers tell me that this spring cleanup probably went as smoothly as any they've had in a long time. So I think they're almost done. A couple of catch-ups to do, but they're going to be done. They are going to they'll start back May, depending on what the time of the month you have the limbs picked up, but they are going to start back with the loose limb and branch pickups. I know in my neighborhood it's like starts the 9th, but in different quadrants in town. I did confirm that the other day that they're going to do that. And, it's trees and they're not going to do stumps and all that, but it's basic yard cleanup, limbs and branches and things like that.
And the machines are all fixed, right?
I assume, because they're doing it, I've seen it pick up a bunch of stuff. If there's nothing else to come before council, we are adjourned. Thank you.